All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Sunday here in the garden level of the Quillen home. We're getting prepared to have our weekend in the Word. And right after that, on the 30th, three of us are heading for El Salvador. Now, this is not a new experience for me, but it will be for the other two, Mike Tracy and my sister, Mary Beth. And I'm sure that they're anticipating, not knowing what's coming, but anticipating new things going to happen. And I'm going to tell you them right now that you'll see new things happen for you. But as I am thinking and reflecting about what I am getting ready to experience, we'll start off with a family camp, and then from there we'll be visiting the fellowships in the area. Usually we're pretty busy. Sometimes one or two fellowships a night, one in the early evening and one in the late evening sometimes. But the point is that we're moving around. There's not a lot of grass growing under our feet, not a lot of time to sit and kick our shoes off, so to speak. Even during the daytime, people are coming in to the home there, wanting to talk, wanting to be having their questions answered and stuff like that. Like we know everything, which we don't. But we certainly are blessed to be able to give in that way. And I was thinking about what was a day like in the life of Jesus Christ. When we're down there, we're pretty busy, and it's one opportunity after another. Sometimes you get to minister, sometimes you get to counsel, sometimes you get to do other things. But the point is that what was his days like? And so we're going to take a look at a time period that I think I can identify as a day for him, because it isn't like very often it identifies one day from another, because he did so much that it's stated that you can't even write them all down, and certainly that's true. But he would go from one thing to another without really being aware of what was coming next. He just kind of went in the direction that the Father told him to go, and then he found out what was going to happen. So if you'll go to Matthew 8, we'll start in verse 23. So just to let you know, the different gospels will sometimes highlight different aspects of an event. So the reason for that is because each gospel is emphasizing a different part of Jesus Christ's ministry. One is emphasizing him as a man. Another one is a servant. Another one is a king, a leader, part of the royalty. And another one is as God's son. So you may see similar events that looks like, oh, well, it's contradictory because it's two different, it's supposed to be the same event, but there's two different things talked about, and we're going to run into that first thing here, where in one gospel, it talks about one crazy guy in the tombs. And then in this gospel, it's two crazy guys in the tombs. Okay, so verse 23. And when he was entered into a ship, his disciples followed him. So they all boarded a ship. Now they're in Capernaum at this point. And where they're headed is on the Sea of Galilee. And you can see the other side. Isn't like at the, Lake Michigan or something like that, where you can't see the other side. It's very doable in these little ships to get around. And Capernaum is at the very northern tip of the Sea of Galilee. And where they're going is about halfway down the coast, maybe a little further, on the eastern shore. Okay? So, and behold, there was a great tempest in the sea, insomuch that the ship was covered with waves, but he was asleep. Okay. Now, I don't think he was subject to a lot of naps. So I'm thinking that this is his nighttime going to sleep time. So he's asleep in the ship. The ship's getting bounced around. Water's spilling over the gunnels. And he's still asleep. Didn't bother him at all. And his disciples came to him and awoke him, saying, Lord, save us, we perish. Well, Jesus Christ knew that his time was not yet, and that he wasn't going to die from drowning. He knew that he was going to be crucified. But so for him to even be concerned that he was going to drown was just not in the picture. That was not going to happen. So he could stay asleep, very restfully. And he saith to them, why are ye fearful, O ye of little faith? Then he arose and rebuked the winds and the sea, and there was a great calm. But the men marveled, saying, what manner of man is this, that even the winds and the sea obey him? We kind of covered this 2 weeks ago about this event. And when he was come to the other side of the country of the Gergesenes, is that how you pronounce it? I know. We'll go with that for now.
Okay.
There met him 2 possessed of devils coming out of the tombs, exceeding fierce, so that no man might pass by that way. So I guess they were toll takers, crazy toll takers. No, they were just bothering anybody that walked near them. And behold, they cried out, saying, what have we to do with thee, Jesus, thou Son of God? Art thou come hither to torment us before the time? Well, who was talking here? It was coming out of their mouths, but it's really the spirits that possessed them that had recognized who Jesus was, that he was the Son of God, and that he had authority over them. So they were kind of being on their, hey, don't kick us out. Don't let us stay. Verse 30. And there was a good way, and there were a good way off from them a herd of many swine feeding. So the devils besought him, saying, if thou cast us out, suffer us to go away into the herd of swine. And he said to them, go. And when they were come out, they went into the herd of swine, and behold, the whole herd of swine rained violently down a steep place into the sea, and perished in the waters. And they that kept them fled, and went their way into the city, and behold everything, and told everything, and what was befallen to the possessed of the devils. And behold, the whole city came out to meet Jesus, and when they saw him, they besought him that he would depart out of their coasts. He wasn't there very long. He was there long enough to take care of these 2 guys. Now, the other gospels relate some of the other things he did for them. Okay, but he just went there. I don't know if he knew why he was going. He just went there, and then he runs into this issue, and they invited him to leave. So Matthew 9:1 says, and he entered into a ship and passed over and came into his own city. Do you know what city that is? It's where he hung out the most, Capernaum. So he went from Capernaum down there and then went back to Capernaum. And behold, they brought to him a man sick of the palsy, lying on a bed. And Jesus, seeing their faith, said unto the sick of the palsy, son, be of good cheer, thy sins be forgiven thee. Behold, certain of the scribes said within themselves, this man blasphemeth. And Jesus, knowing their thoughts, well, how would he know their thoughts? God showed him. Wherefore think ye evil in your hearts? For whether it is easier to say, thy sins be forgiven thee, or to say, arise and walk. But that ye may know that the Son of Man hath power on earth to forgive sins. Then saith he to the sick of the palsy, arise, take up thy bed, and go unto thine own house. And he arose and departed to his house. But when the multitude saw it, they marveled and glorified God, which had given such power unto men. Now understand, this was pretty rare, because for 400 years, there had not been a man of God until John the Baptist. And John the Baptist was not performing miracles. He was not healing. He was calling people to repentance. But nobody had seen healing like this and miracles like this. So for them to see this, they had known from the scriptures that there had been healings before. And they had known that there'd been miracles before. But it was all academic. Now it was a reality. It was right there. They were witnessing it. And as Jesus passed forth from thence, he saw a man named Matthew sitting at the receipt of customs. And he saith unto him, follow me. And he arose and followed him. Okay, so what's happened today is that he's taken a little ship trip over to the Gadarenes area, delivers these two guys, gets back on the ship, comes back to Capernaum, and heals somebody. Then he meets Matthew, who becomes one of the apostles. Kind of a busy day. It's not over yet. So, verse 10. And it came to pass, as Jesus sat at meat in the house, behold, many publicans and sinners came and sat down with him and his disciples. And when the Pharisees saw it, they said unto his disciples, why eat your master with publicans and sinners? That's something you wouldn't catch them doing. They did not want to make themselves unclean with being with unclean people. And there is something to say about those that you hang out with can have an influence on you in both a positive and a negative way. But the publicans were doing it for the wrong reason. Jesus Christ saw that he could help these folks, and that's why he went in. Verse 12. But when Jesus heard that, he said unto them, they that be whole need not a physician, but they that are sick. But go ye and learn what that meaneth. I will have mercy and not sacrifice. For I am not come to call the righteous, but sinners to repentance. Now this is a almost ironical thing to say, because everybody, including these Pharisees and scribes, were sinners. But when you don't think that you're a sinner, you think that you're, the goody two-shoes and all right with God and doing God a favor by just living your life for him, that you won't accept what he has to offer. And at this point in time, he had to offer them the Lord Jesus Christ. And they absolutely rejected it, except for a few exceptions. Verse 14. Then came to him the disciples of John, remember John the Baptist, saying, why do we and the Pharisees fast oft, but thy disciples fast not? And Jesus said to them, can the children of the bride chamber mourn as long as the bridegroom is with them? But the days will come when the bridegroom shall be taken from them, and then shall they fast. No man putteth a piece of new cloth into old garment, for that which is put in to fill it taketh from the garment, and the rent is made worse. I've never been much of a guy putting patches on things, but I do remember trying to put patches on the knees of my blue jeans, or my mom or my grandma would do it. It didn't last very long. I just wear that thing out. It just stretched out. It wasn't a good fit. Neither do men put new wine into old bottles, else the bottles break, and the wine runneth out, and the bottles perish. But they put new wine into old bottles, and both are preserved. Now, this is wine skins, which was usually the belly of a goat and stuff. But because of the fermentation process, it weakens it. So you put new wine into one of those empty containers or platters, then new fermentation is going to break it. That's what that's about. While he spake these things unto them, behold, there came a certain ruler and worshipped him, saying, My daughter is even now dead, but come and lay thy hand upon her, and she shall live. Well, remember, this is new issues. I mean, these are new things happening in the land. But this man had such great believing that his daughter had died, and he believed that if Christ would come, Jesus Christ would come and just lay his hand upon her, that she would be raised from the dead. And Jesus arose and followed him, and so did his disciples. And behold, a woman which was diseased with an issue of blood 12 years came behind him and touched the hem of his garment. Okay, he's on his way to heal this child, and while on the way, he gets touched by another person who had such great believing that if I just touch his clothes, I'll be healed. For she said within herself, there it is. If I may but touch his garment, I shall be whole. But Jesus turned him about, and when he saw her, he said, Daughter, be of good comfort. Thy faith hath made thee whole. And the woman was made whole from that hour. Now, we knew from another gospel that it was an issue of blood. She just couldn't, because of her period, she just wouldn't stop bleeding. And that's a problem. And so she wanted to be healed. And she'd been trying for years. But it's just another part of a day in the life of Christ.
Amazing.
Verse 23. And when Jesus had come into the ruler's house and saw the minstrels and the people making a noise, there was a grieving process. And they used to, if they didn't have enough people of their own family to show up and have that grieving show, they would actually hire people, professional grievers, and they'd wail and all this stuff. And but that's kind of what was going on here. He said unto them, Give place, for the maid is not dead, but sleepeth. And they laughed him to scorn. Well, they had no real involvement in this. They were just hired hands doing a job. And he said, she's not dead. She's just sleeping. Oh, my goodness. But when the people were put forth, he went in and took her by the hand, and the maid arose. And the fame thereof went abroad into all that land. And when Jesus departed thence, 2 blind men followed him, crying and saying, Thou son of David, have mercy on us. I mean, he can't walk 5 steps before having something else. And when he was come into the house, the blind men came to him, and Jesus said to them, Believe ye that I am able to do this? And they said unto him, Yea, Lord. Now, sometimes when I minister to people, I ask them this question, because for them to confess that, yes, if you minister to me, I know I'll be healed. That is establishing it for themselves. They can't just rely upon you're believing when you minister to them, they need to participate. And so much so that if they believe that this would happen, you don't even need to minister to them. Like the lady who touched the hem of his garment. If their believing is there to receive, they're going to receive whether you minister to them or not. But that's not a bad question to think about, to ask people. Again, you don't want to make everything the same because you got to walk with the Father. Sometimes you might say it, sometimes you might not say it. But here he did. You think that if I minister to you, you're going to be healed? She said, yea, Lord. Verse 29. Then touched he their eyes, the two blind guys, saying, according to your faith, be it unto you. Not according to my faith, according to your faith. What do you want? What is it that you want? And their eyes were opened, and Jesus straightly charged them, saying, see that no man know it. Now, I don't know how they're going to keep it a secret. All their friends knew that they were blind. All of a sudden, they're reaching over and picking up a coffee cup. Nobody assisting them. But that was his direction. Don't tell anybody. But they, when they were departed, spread abroad his fame in all the country. And they went out, and behold, they brought to him a dumb man possessed with a devil. Okay, blind, now a dumb man, one that can't talk. And it was a devil spirit that was keeping him from talking. And when the devil was cast out, the dumb spake. And the multitude marveled, saying, it was never so seen in Israel. But the Pharisees said, he casteth out devils through the prince of devils. Well, you know, when you can't do something, you always got to find a reason why. And so here he is. He's doing the things that only the Son of Man, the Son of God, the Messiah, was going to be doing according to prophecies. And they couldn't accept that. Couldn't accept their own eyes. So, yeah, he's going to be doing it through the prince of devils. And Jesus went about all the cities and villages, teaching in their synagogues and preaching the gospel of the kingdom and healing every sickness and every disease among the people. And that was where I thought that was the end of that day, because he couldn't certainly finish out his day seeing all the villages. Right. But the point is, every step of the way, every step he took could be another potential encounter with service to God and helping somebody. That was a typical day in the life of Jesus Christ. We have so much to be thankful for God sending his only begotten Son, of whom without we would have nothing. But this is not something that is like, oh, only Jesus could do this. Because I don't know what life is going to be like in El Salvador coming up, but I do know that people come to us expecting to receive. People walk up to us and it's not like here. I don't know if it's because we live here every day and everybody knows each other and stuff like this, but they don't know us. And when we get there, they're expecting to receive. Hey, these guys are heavy hitters and they're going to come in and do something. Now, whether we do or don't has a lot to do with our believing. But certainly if we put ourselves in a position to where we can take one step at a time and are ready to do for God as he directs, great things are going to happen. Great things are going to happen. So that's a day in the life of Jesus Christ.